Welcome back to Murder at the Funeral Home. Did not know this would become a series after my first Hurlburt family murder at a funeral home up in northern Michigan. But you guys started sending me more articles and information about murders that occurred at funeral homes. You wanted to hear more. So here's part 2. Let's get it. March 27th, 2003, from the Gadsden Times from Florida. Funeral home shooting kills 3. Man arrested in killings, already served 4 months in Florida for attempted murder, robbery, and theft. Let's go on this wild ride. So the criminal in this situation is Christopher Hyde. He was arrested in 1993 in his early 20s at the time. As the paper reports, after he beat Raymond Davies with a tire iron, and some reports say he used a microwave oven even, he was in the doorway of Davies' apartment in suburban Fort Lauderdale. Hyde then stole Davies' wallet and car, leaving the victim bloodied and unconscious on the floor. Now, Davies was paralyzed and in a wheelchair. He had picked up Hyde on the beach, and they had had sex before the beating. Hyde was released early from prison, though, because of old rules that give inmates up to 20 days off of their sentence for each month of good behavior. So he had been released 8.5 years of the 17-year sentence that he had been given for this crime. He was out walking the streets. Now, at 30 years old, he was looking to commit another robbery. So a few months after his release, we come upon the scene at the funeral home murder for this story. Bell Funeral Home in Sumiton, Alabama, a tight-knit little coal mining community of about 2,600 people just northwest of Birmingham, Alabama. I don't know my Alabama geography, so I had to look that up, exactly where everything was. Our victims were Rick Peterson, 50 years old, a pastor at Faith Worship Center in Sumiton, and an apprentice up at Bell Funeral Home. June Williams, 61, who managed the funeral home, was the head embalmer and funeral director. Also, Randall Lane, 66, a semi-retired casket company manager who had worked for Batesville Casket Company, and he was making a delivery. Wrong place, wrong time, when all 3 were killed. Lane had actually retired as customer service center manager for Batesville and just had kept delivering caskets. So the day was March 26, 2003. The day of the murders at the funeral home. Christopher Hyde had entered the funeral home and asked to use the bathroom. He said he had gone there with a fully loaded gun, planning to rob the place. Why pick the funeral home? Who knows? But he went in that day, asked to use the bathroom, and then showed his gun. He robbed the 3, Rick, June, and Randall, took their wallets, the little money they had, took the keys to one of their vehicles. The reports say they were in the embalming room or the care center area where the bodies are embalmed and casketed and gotten ready for services when they were all shot to death. Now, another funeral director, Leland Tingle, found the bodies, and this was the first triple homicide in the Walker County in over 30 years. I mean, a triple homicide, having multiple deaths at one time, especially in small town, is not come upon very frequently. Now, the search began right away when Tingle called police. Luckily, we had a very dumb criminal in this situation, and he didn't make it far. So Hyde had stolen the vehicle. He was seen leaving the funeral home, took his bike that he had rode there on, put it in the back of the pickup truck, went to the bus station, left them at the bus station, and took a bus to Atlanta, and he was apprehended upon his arrival. So he didn't get very far, didn't get a lot from this robbery, and 3 deaths, 3 lives lost were the result. Now, the Tuscaloosa, which is a fun word to say, Tuscaloosa News reports At the trial where Hyde was sentenced to death, Walker County Circuit Court Judge Jerry K. Selman told Hyde at sentencing Thursday that he had killed 3 hardworking and much-loved individuals. The death sentence by lethal injection brings an automatic appeal with it. Selman told Hyde he hopes he has time to contemplate the atrocity he had committed and what he had done to the victim's family and friends. And he said, I hope you have time to contemplate what you have done to your mother. Hyde's mother, Wanda Griffiths, wept after the sentencing. You know, people that commit these crimes are not only hurting the families of the victims, they're hurting their own family by making them go through this media and this trial and this scrutiny along with them. Now, the crime was weighted because he was charged with capital murder in the slaying of 3 people because the killing took place when another crime, another felony, a robbery was already happening. The jury in February found Hyde 32 guilty of capital murders in the death of Randall, Rick, and June in a 10-2 decision, and the jurors had recommended a death sentence. He is still on death row, waiting his day. Now, Pastor Rick, his funeral services were on March 29th at Faith Worship Center in Summerton, and he was buried at New Horizon Memorial Gardens. Randall Lane was buried in Bethesda, I'm going to guess, Baptist Church Cemetery in Boaz, Alabama. And I did some deep diving. I could not find service information, obituary, burial for June Williams. So if you guys know where that's at, share it with us so we can know where she was laid to rest as well. 3 lives, 1 funeral home as the scene. Criminal caught, so that is a positive. And he will be where he is until his death. Watch for the next murder at a funeral home.